You are watching an LT with the brand new HTC One Mini, which is a quite nice sequel to the HTC One, but it's of course a smaller device like Samsung did last year with the Samsung Galaxy S3, but we have a little bit better hardware of course here inside, maybe even compared to the S4 Mini, since we have Snapdragon 400 processor here by Qualcomm inside with dual-core 1.4 GHz, 4.3-inch screen with 720p, not Full HD anymore, but since there's not Full HD in here, we need a smaller battery also, so there's only 1800 milliamps inside, which should give you of course a good battery life. So compared to the regular HTC One, you can see here the size difference is not that big, but in the width there is some millimeters here, and on the top that makes it smaller, but otherwise of course the price is $200 cheaper, which is quite nice. And we don't have NFC anymore inside, there's no infrared and no optical image stabilization, but we still have of course the 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera, and on the front the HD front camera, which I can actually demonstrate to you just in a second. So I just have to open here the camera up. We still don't have a dedicated camera button, and you can see here on the back the camera is quite okay. And if we switch to the front camera here in the Sense 5, then you can see here that's also still in a nice quality. And of course it's not only good for snapshots, but it's perfect, I think, a little bit better for your pocket, especially if you compare it to the Apple iPhone 4, which is still a little bit smaller, but not that much smaller anymore, only in terms of the height, since the ultra boom sound of course needs some space here for the two speakers. Let me just turn off the display, and then you can see here when I put them onto each other, you can see that there is really not much of a difference actually in that size, and it's still perfect for one hand. Even when you just have your pinky here on the bottom, you can still reach here the top part of the phone, which is often a criticism by Apple users. So of course I have some more devices here for comparison, like for example the Sony Xperia SP, which is in terms of price maybe a main competitor, and we have also the metal design here, but only on the edges. The HTC One Mini does it actually completely different. They use plastic all around. That's one of the little differences here to the HTC One, but otherwise we have of course all the other hardware features that we know from the HTC One in big. So otherwise here of course plastic back, metal back, and both quite beautiful devices, but NFC is of course in here, so that's why it's a little bit thicker, and the batteries I think also a little bit bigger. But compared to the Huawei S10 P6, which has exactly the same MSRP price, there is some differences. Of course both don't have NFC, but we have a 2000 milliamp battery inside here, even though it's actually not even that much higher. But of course the camera quality is different here. We just have a regular 8 megapixel camera in here, and both are beautiful and slim devices with metal design, but well, you have to make a choice which, for example, software you want, of course, since HTC Zoe is a big plus here, but otherwise you can see that, for example, the Android home buttons are here externally and on the Huawei on the screen, and that's why we actually have the bigger 4.7-inch screen, I would say. But in slimness, of course, there is not. There is quite a difference. Compared to the S4, we don't have much of a size difference here, but of course in hardware and in the price there is a difference, and the S4 just feels cheap in my eyes, but otherwise here just a short comparison here all around. And the last device, of course, here the Sony Xperia ZL, one of my favorites. It's not waterproof, but big battery, big screen, and it's not that big of a phone. But of course here in terms of thickness, the HTC One Mini wins. So this was a short hands-on and comparison with different devices of the HTC One Mini. The full review will come up soon, of course, in our YouTube channel. Thank you much for watching. Till next time, peace and again, and you can ask us anything to the device, of course, below in the comment section.